So, welcome to Pod Potatoes. This is Mark Selzer, your host. We'll be talking a little bit about the news today.
Disney Junior's most possible
Oh,
and adorable forces of good.
so we want, definitely don't want any Disney. It's terrible.
He avoid answering questions. And is he putting off his 2024 announcement because of this? Joining us now, Charlie Hurd, opinion editor at the Washington Times and a Fox News contributor, and Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and also a Fox News contributor. Ari, you've been in the cauldron.
A little bit of Fox News there. They're talking about Joe Biden. Is he putting off his announcement of his campaign for this document stolen from the Obama White House document dump? Well, as they were persecuting Trump for it, now there's a special prosecutor for Biden as well.
In the White House, when the press wants answers, did it seem like Biden felt comfortable in that situation? He gave that kind of odd smile. A lot of people noticed it. What was going through your mind when you saw that?
Well, I think there's two types of not talking from the president. One is you don't talk because it's political, because there's something military going on, so you just don't want to talk. The other, though, is you're ordered by your lawyers, or you're told by your lawyers that if you talk, you could be exposing yourself to criminal liability.
Yeah, so he's been told to shut up by his lawyers. We don't even know. We don't know at all what he's doing, what's going on. You know, it seems like the Democrats are throwing him under the bus because they don't want him to run. They've been grooming Kamala Harris, I think, for the slot, Camel Toe Harris, as she's called sometimes, or Camel Face Harris, as she's sometimes called, sometimes known as. They've been grooming her, although it's been a disaster. It's been as much of a disaster as Joe Biden, so they're going to, but they've been grooming her, trying to get her out as much as they can, get her out in front of people as much as they can to try to groom her to run for president. They don't have anyone else. They certainly don't have Joe Biden because he's not even there. So it looks like Joe's being thrown under the bus. We'll see if we can get a look at some stuff from this is the right wing press, of course. We get a look at something from MSNBC or the left wing press on how they're basically throwing Joe Biden under the bus with this whole scandal of classified documents.
Anybody you talk to could become a witness. That the independent counsel could go, special counsel can call and say, what exactly did Joe Biden say to you? That applies to White House staff. Every time the White House press secretary talks to the White House counsel, she could get questioned now by the independent special counsel. So that's why they clam up. But the press.
Yeah, definitely this, as they did with Trump, with the whole Russia thing, which they knew evidently. We have the transcripts now, we have the internal documents. We knew that the FBI knew that this was complete garbage, that they weren't entirely, there was nothing there. They knew that, but they used it as a fishing expedition to go after everything about Trump, to comb everything in his life. They were combing through it, every email, everything, and they found the junk with Stormy Daniels, which she says now didn't even happen. But, whatever. They used it as a fishing expedition. So if they really decided, let's get rid of Biden because he's going to run, they can't stop him from running, what they're going to be doing here is using it as a fishing expedition to go after the scandals with the laptop and his son Hunter Biden, and the house that his son was passing on the bribes to him, $50,000 a month, and with the stolen documents from the Obama administration in in his garage. So, the difference is between him and Trump is that Trump can declassify documents. What exactly the procedure is for declassifying documents. Does he just need to wave his hand over them or say they were declassified? They don't know. They'll be fishing. They'll be sussing that out, and I'm sure in the future. But basically, the vice president cannot declassify documents. So him having classified documents is much more serious than Trump. Trump can declassify documents, and executive privilege has been to the Supreme Court many, many times. So you really can't. It's really going to be hard to get Trump on anything for this. But, of course, they're trying. They've always trying even before. They try no matter what.
Should not let them get away with it. I understand what the White House has to do, but there are ways the press can bang at the White House, especially the president, to try to get more answers.
Now, Charlie, it seemed like Biden was poised to announce his 2024 reelection bid early in the new year.
As Laura Angry Hole has been saying there, it is a problem. So let's see what we can find over here. Let's talk about the war.
New Cox Mobile.
Let's talk about the war. Talk about the war in the Ukraine. They've sent endless billions of dollars over there to the Ukraine of our money that we can't afford.
Tonight, a desperate search for survivors coming to an end. Emergency teams suspending rescue operations and turning to recovery efforts at this apartment building in Dnipro. 3 days after it was left.
We're in a war. We have advisors over there, with people over there. We have boots on the ground over there in the Ukraine. We've sent endless billions of dollars over there that we cannot afford. I mean, the cost of eggs, $8. Can you believe it? $8 for some eggs. That's way too much money. I can't afford eggs. I can't afford the Democrats. I used to be a Democrat, but, I had to leave them because they're very pro-war. And here they are again, very pro-war, billions of dollars. We're in this war. This is the beginning of World War III, maybe. We don't know.
By what British military intelligence says was a Russian missile large enough to sink an aircraft carrier. The death toll.
And that's one of the problems right there, is that the Russians have endless amounts of missiles they can send in there. They've got endless amounts of missiles. There's absolutely nothing that we can do to stop them, no matter how many trillions of dollars we send over there that we can't afford. There's just really nothing we can do, because the Russians are over there. We're not over there to fight that war. They're fighting that war over there. We're not. We're not fighting that war. We're supporting the war. The money's going to the war, but we don't know where it's going. There's no accounting. A lot of it's probably going into people's bank accounts over there as they flee the country. But, the Russians have an endless amount of missiles left over from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. They can, in warehouses, they can stick those on trucks, just slowly bring them over and just keep lobbing them at these cities. There's no way they're going to lose this war. There's no way going to let them lose this war. They're not going to allow NATO at their front door. They don't allow that. For those of you who don't know history, there used to be these satellite countries that were taken over by the Soviet Union simply to be a buffer between the Western world and the Soviet Union. They're not going to allow NATO at their front door, and Ukraine is right there next to them. So there's no way they're going to lose this war. It would go nuclear. They're not going to let this war go. They're not going to ever give up, no matter how many endless trillions of dollars we can't afford while people are starving on our streets over here.
5 killed, including 6 children. And according to the UN, more than 1,000 people now homeless in the depths of winter. President Zelensky calling for a war.
That's funny you're talking about that. How many homeless people do we have here? How about a little relief over here for our country?
Щоб всі російські вбивці. He says all Russian murderers, everyone who gives and executes orders on missile terror.
And this guy's been, turned into a deity by the press. He's a dictator. He's stopped the free press over there. He's outlawed and arrested his political opponents. He shut down anyone that criticizes him over there in the press.
Against our people must face legal sentences. And as rescuers sift the wreckage, we're learning more about the victims and survivors who once called this building home. This video of Katya.
It's sad for those people over there because there's no way they can win this war. Russia's a huge country. They have a huge budget. They have a huge armory of these missiles just ready to go. And I think the only thing they could do is maybe launch an attack into Russia, start massacring villages in Russia like they're getting massacred over there. Who knows? Maybe that would stop it. But, probably nothing will stop it. We cannot win this war. And they're willing to negotiate, evidently, Russia, but the Biden administration not.
Zelenska emerging after 20 hours under the rubble was seen around the world. Katya is on Instagram.
I mean, it's horrible. There's nothing we can do. We can't stop this war. We cannot stop these people from waging this war. There's just no way. Let's talk about a little bit about this A&E series coming out about Playboy. It's somewhat interesting.
Wish or desire to be a Playboy bunny?
The first Playboy Club was founded in 1960.
The club is really an extension of the concept that was developed in the magazine. Relaxed urban living, good food and drink, pretty girls, good entertainment.
We were glorified waitress with a fuzzy tail.
Anyway, this is a A&E series talking about various crimes committed against women at the Playboy Mansion and other places, other shadow mansions that were around, kind of pseudo Playboy mansions.
There was a style that the Playboy bunnies had. So you could be pretty, sexual, coy.
The bunnies were the greatest sex symbol in the country.
The Playboy Club became a worldwide sensation. The bunny became probably more famous than the Playmates.
Yeah, so anyway, various women, they're just talking to various women and alleging that Hugh Hefner raped them, or various other celebrities raped various women at the compound. It's pretty disturbing stuff, and you wonder, though, at some point, a lot of these women, may just be employees that had sour grapes. They may be women who had thought they were going to be big stars and didn't get what they were promised. And, you can't really blame, you're going to blame the victims. But, a lot of the women went in there, they were saying they were young and naive and they were taken advantage of sexually at the mansion. But, you also have to wonder, what did they think they were getting into when they signed up? Yes, they were young and naive, but they weren't, virgins. They weren't children. They were 19, 20, or in their early 20s.
You felt very powerful being a bunny because you thought you were protected by Playboy. But that costume was liability because when men were viewing it, they assumed that you were sexually open to them. And when you took...
Well, they're not talking about a lot of the women at the Playboy bunny clubs. There were these series of clubs, Playboy clubs that were out there in the 70s. They got their doors shuttered as they got out of Vogue. But you're talking of interviewing a lot of women who stayed at the Playboy Mansion, and they said they were taken advantage of sexually by Hugh Hefner. And, it's just kind of, no one ever should be raped or sexually assaulted. But, these are women, they're coming to live at the Playboy Mansion. They're being given an allowance of $1,000 a week. They're living at the Playboy Mansion for free, and on one hand, yes, it's horrible and we need to look at it with a certain perspective. But the other hand, they're coming to the Playboy Mansion and there's an orgy in the other room, an orgy in the living room, orgy out in the jacuzzi, orgy out by the pool. people having sex in the trees, on the lawns. They're running around the mansion in their underwear, snorting all the cocaine off of all the tables and taking the handfuls of quaaludes and other drugs from the buckets and barrels of drugs that were everywhere at the Playboy Mansion. And then they're saying, oh, gee, someone tried to have sex with me. Horror of horrors. Who would have thunk it? What did they think they were signing up for? I mean, these weren't virgins. They weren't babes in the woods as they're portraying themselves in this. But then again, that's the negative side. The other side is no one, no matter how dumb they are, no matter how naive they are, no matter how drugged they are, deserves to be raped. So it's an interesting show. You should take a look at it. It's there on YouTube. You can see it probably on A&E officially, but the cut up version of it is available on YouTube, and it's enough.
They still saw a female and they still saw in their eyes, that costume.
They were a group of bunnies who were abducted, drugged, and used in a sex movie, but it was almost like, don't talk about this.
Celebrities.
Seems like a cleanup crew.
Oh yeah.
And evidently there were orgies going on in rooms and things like that, and evidently there were video screens and you could watch yourself have sex on the video screens, but evidently they were being surreptitiously filmed. People are wondering, what has happened to these films, because a lot of celebrities there have gotten a lot of celebrities have gotten filmed, evidently, and also some of the celebrities are there were Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski. Come on. So anyway, take a look at it. It's very interesting. This will be a short edition, a first edition, video edition of Pod Potatoes. You can also find Pod Potatoes there on the app of different versions of this show, audio only, on iTunes, Spotify, and of course Anchor. Go to the Anchor app and pledge if you can. I have a Patreon set up, but go to the Anchor app and pledge. You can find me on social media if you have any questions, any comments, any hate mail. You can send it to me. Just join me on social media. It's at Mark Selzer on Twitter, and also on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me very easily and send me a message there. But please go to my Anchor app, sign up for that, and you can listen to the rest of the shows there. And please do make a pledge to support the show. Thank you very much. This has been Pod Potatoes. Thanks for listening.